Hello, creative crafters out there. Kim Victoria here. Today I'm starting a video by showing you some of the stuff I've been pulling out. I decided I wanted to start a new project. I've got a couple of big projects in mind, but right now I just wanted to do something smaller. And so I've been collecting some boxes, as so many of you creative folks do, is create, you've got to save the stuff because you never know what you're going to use. And I put two and two together here. Um, my sister-in-law gave me one of those sample books of fabrics. These are for upholstery and that sort of thing. Um, and there's all these nice blues, and I have all these blue papers, and I was noticing how these strips fit on this box well. And there's enough of them that I can do a front, a back, a spine, and all that sort of thing. And they remind me of sailboats and the beach and awnings. They do remind me of awnings as well. But I kind of wanted to go with that ocean, beach kind of theme because I've been collecting things to make probably more than one journal. And so this one I went through my scrapbook paper and I've got some lovely scrapbook paper. This one of sky. I have some napkins, serviettes for you non-Americans. I've got some tissue paper. I have some of these 6x6 paper pads with wave themes. I've got some dyed paper that I've done, and I have some miniature seashells, and oh goodness, I've got some cool stuff that I'm going to bring into the mix. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of make this neater so I can get to it all. And this will be both supposed junk, things that get thrown away, and fun stuff like beautiful little seashells. And um, let's just see what happens because I don't have much of a plan other than pulling out various components, and I'll get out some ink and all of that good stuff. Okay. So let me put all this away and we'll come back and play. I'm pretty much ready to start making the cover. I've chosen these three sample pieces. And if ever you find one of these sample books for any kind of material, it's very nice material, usually these upholstery. They always come with, of course, the label on the back. Now, what I was able to do with these is tear off some of it, and I'm not going to do it with this because I don't need to, but I have put these in cold water in the with other samples that I've tried. I have put them in cold water and given them a good soak and I can get most of it off, but these I just thought I would make it a little easier on myself, so tearing off a little bit of it. But I think pretty much I'm going to be able to be working within the confines of the nice clean material. So the other thing that I was thinking about with this is, okay, I've chosen a box, I've chosen the material. What I want to do is do some sewing. This is fabric after all. So I think it would be really fun to sew a pocket on the front. And I'm definitely going to sew it. So I'm trying to do a better job of thinking this through because a lot of times I just kind of get going and I forget to think about the important things like closures and things like that. So this would be a cute pocket. And we're picking up the theme there. This is going to wrap around. So I want to sew it. I'll probably glue it to anchor it and then I'll sew it. So I need to determine how much of this I need. I'll probably have to cut some off. And then there's the pocket, and I want to sew the pocket on, and I'm going to sew it across the top so that it has a nice edge to it. So I'll fold it over, sew that first. And then I will fold it in on all those sides, sew it around this way, determine how much I need to cover the spine and how much I want it to cover the front back. Yep, I'm going to play with that. I'm going to start with the cover, sew that, put on the pocket. I have to decide on the closure. And You never know what you're going to find at thrift stores, right? My sister-in-law is such a wealth of goodies because she gets to go to thrift stores quite often. I don't. And she found this, and I just picked it up from her when I went to visit last week. So she found these marvelous kind of burlap cords, ribbons, and this is like a miniature of some of the rope you might see at a beach or something like that. See, these are all on spools. Isn't that great? So that's kind of a cool thing. So I'm thinking this would make a great closure. So somehow I want to incorporate that in because I want to decorate the front with some seashells. So these are my thought processes of how am I going to do this? Because I want to make this a very decorative cover. It's small, but it can be small, but wonderful. And I've got this cord. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this open. And in case that's something I like to open it always where it's glued together because I'd rather have the spine not be encumbered by that extra layer. Also, I can cut this off and reinforce the spine with that extra piece of cardboard. But because this is going to be covered with fabric on the spine, I don't think I need to add that extra reinforcement. After all, this is a small journal, so going to be a small journal. So it's not going to get as rigorous treatment over time. At least, it's unlikely to. So I think with the fabric reinforcement, I don't need to glue on this. So I hope it's good that I'm explaining some of my thought processes. I like to do that whenever I'm teaching an art class, and I think it's very helpful because I sure enjoy it when other of the YouTube presenters are going into their thought processes. I love getting into an artist's mind and how they make their decisions, and it's just so helpful because it helps me make decisions so much easier. So I'm going to cut this up. I'm going to start sewing the front, and I'll be back. I have a new sewing machine that I'm learning how to use. So it took me a little while to do this because I'm just learning how this particular machine works. So what I did was I was very careful to figure out how much I wanted it to extend over the sides and make sure I still had a little strip left to wrap around, and top and bottom's no problem. And then I used one of the other little pieces to create this pocket. So let me make sure you can see that okay. Yeah, so everything is stitched down as far as that goes. And then I was figuring out, okay, how am I gonna fit this in? So I want it centered on that dark blue. And then I was doing this, going like, when I said something about it kind of looking like an awning, and I thought, now wouldn't that be cute? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another one of these strips and line that up across the spine area. Usually, I would do this. I would put like the end papers over all the fold things, but I think what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to put the end papers, I'm going to fold in the sides, and then I'm going to put the inside papers on. So a little bit more complicated than sometimes. I'm not sure if I'll trim off that white. I think I'll trim that little teeny bit of white off, and it'll kind of look like an awning. Wouldn't that be cute? I like it. Okay. So, okay. And then the other thing that I need to do is remember I said I had this cord. So do I want this cord to come out the side so I can tie it? That'll be really, really secure. And I think I'm going to have some stuff sticking out on the side. I think I'm going to make this kind of more decorative than leaving it plain and flat. I think I'll have some stuff, because I have little strips of fabric. I can make little tabs and I can have little dangles with shells on them. It could be really cute. Okay, I'm going to make sure I have enough of this cord and I will plan on this kind of a closure. And I think I will keep it, maybe because it's going to be a little bit of a lump under here. So do I want it hidden behind the pocket at the halfway point, or do I want it above the pocket? I think I want it above the pocket because there's going to be this little lump here. So getting into the pocket, if I had the lump in the pocket, it would make it harder to tuck things in. But if I put the lump a little higher, it wouldn't be such an obstruction. Either that, or, well, now here's the thought. Okay, I could zigzag stitch over this whole thing and leave it on top. So that might be a good idea too, because it exposes the rope and I could add some more. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'm going to stitch it on and run a zigzag stitch over the top and just get that going first. And then I can glue the cover onto the cardboard and do all that layering that I was talking about. So do that, fold up these ends, fold up these ends, put this in, put the end papers on, and then fold over the awning. Make sense? That is the plan. All right. So I'm going to do that next process. So I'm going to sew the closure straight across, making sure that I don't get it in that last little bit that's going to get folded over. A little tricky, but I can kind of end short and leave it loose because that would be nice when it comes time to tie the knot anyway. All right, I've thought it through. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'll be back with that stage done. I thought before I finish putting this all together, I would just show a couple of the steps I've done, and then I'll finish it here. So I didn't get perfect adhesion when it's open. There's a little bit of a wrinkle here. I did stitch this little bit of rope, as it were. But see, when it folds over, it looks fine. So I didn't get quite enough glue on that, but I think when it's closed, it looks fine, and it'll be okay. So next I sewed in this small piece and I really worked it into the fold, kept creasing it over, working it in, making sure that I got it in there and that we have nice flexibility. And it's one of the lovely things about cloth is you get all that great flexibility. So then I'm just folded up this bottom part. And now I want to do the sides before I go doing the paper. And I'm going all the way to the top here because I want to fold that in all the way up. So let's get this corner tucked in. The fabric is a little bit thicker. Well, it's thicker than paper, so it's harder to get that corner to lay down. So if I press that in and nudge that over just a little bit, I think that's going to work. Yeah. So when I fold it over, yeah, it will be on the inside. Okay. Same for over here. Let's see if I can get that corner tucked in. That works good. That works good. Everything's working. Leave it square. Okay, this is a little wide, so I've got to go trim those down. Be right back. I grabbed my small corner rounder while I was there, just to take off those sharp points. Yeah, that's better. I wanted it a little further away from the spine. I don't need to add any more bulk than it's got quite enough as it is. Okay, here we go. I'm putting extra glue on the edges because I'm dealing with different materials with the cardboard, but then the fabric and kind of the lumpiness of the whole thing. The fabric's a little lumpy, the rope trim is a little lumpy. So I want to make sure we have good adhesion. All right, we are ready for the awning. Isn't that cute? I think this is going to work great. And I don't need anything else underneath it. No, I think we're fine. Okay. And in case you haven't seen my other videos, when I'm doing these mixed materials, I definitely like this acetone-based glue. It's for fabric and all sorts of materials. So it's got great adhesion, dries fast, and that's what counts, huh? Okay, so we're still folding over nice, and opening nice. Yay! So that's the inside. And we have this outside. So you can, it has a rustic look. It's a little bit crooked there. It's okay. But I'll shorten this later, but that little feature is going to work. Okay. So cover, other than embellishing the front, is the cover's done. So on to the next stage. So what I was doing with all of my paper is I was thinking about, well, I want to have it be a writing place, but I also want it to be fun. So I was creating these different pages. I have this 6x6 paper pad, and I wanted to use that, and it wasn't quite wide enough to go in by itself. I mean, I could, but I thought it would be fun to have it be a flip out. And I created it to have pockets. So that's always fun to have pockets, right? And I just used a little strip of scrappy paper, and I had this pair of scissors that kind of looks like a wave pattern, great to go with the beachy kind of theme that I was going for. So I made 3 of those. One of them opens toward the back, and 2 of them open towards the front. So I decided that would be the first page. And then I cut down some A2 size paper to create these little pages. And then this paper pad also had this design. So it's very similar to this, but a little different color, obviously. And I used some of those fabric strips, and I did sew them on. I had some other of that fun kind of burlap-like cord. So I zigzag stitched that on. This is actually a 3-step zigzag. I love the 3-step zigzag because it lays flatter than a simple satin stitch kind of zigzag. I love the 3-step zigzag. I use it when I'm sewing clothing because it keeps whatever I'm sewing flat rather than tending to pull the fabric in. So it works very nicely for that. So that's my thinking on that one. So now I have that page. And then in the middle, I have a fold out. So I inked the edges on some of these things and not others, and that's fine. And so these are very similar. This one, I didn't have any more of that dark fabric, so I sewed on some more from that sample book. So this is where I am with these three signatures, but I'm not finished with them, so I'm not ready to sew them in. I want to add some rubber stamping to these. I have some beachy themed stamps. I also want to create some tags, and I have these napkin serviettes that I want to play with, and I've already cut out a little bit. I have some tag shapes from this cardstock that I have. So I'm going to create some cute little tags. And that's kind of where I am. So I'm going to get out my rubber stamps. I'm going to do some collaging with these onto the paper. And that's where I am, and that's where I'm going to go. And then we'll do some other embellishments, and we'll just see how this evolves. Have some other fun things to play with. So, folks, I've been having a good time here, and I've been getting cute. Look at this. These cute. Another gift from somebody, and I went, oh my God, they are going to work so well for this. So this is what I've done so far is that this paper has this wave pattern in it. And so okay, I'm going to add those little guys. Um, I've made some pockets. I've made some tags and stapled on some of the leftover bits of fabric. Nothing has sewn yet, and got a couple of clip-ins that I could add charms to, a few little hidden things here and there. I mean, that's too cute, right? And I used whiteout for those little bubbly things. Whiteout is still available and it is still very useful, especially if I'm doing actual forms. So I've got some clip-in bits, lots of little things. There's a kind of a side pocket, a little belly band. I have this pretty, it looks like water, scrapbook paper. So I wanted to get that in here somehow. And these are getting so full. I went, wow, I need to put it somewhere. And then I've got the little fish jumping in the wave, a little starfish. So it's just following the theme of like what I'm doing with the napkin serviettes and collaging them onto just some simple paper. And what I found out you could do with this is you can use glue stick to adhere the napkin material to the cardstock or paper or whatever. And then I go over it with the thinned down PVA adhesive. Now, I do want to say this, that if there's anything that I have done in this project that you would like me to make a more specific how-to video, please let me know. I'd be happy to do that. I just don't want to get so bogged down in all the minutia that it bores you, because you may know, most of you probably know a lot of this stuff, but when I've got a little thing like that that I've discovered, I share it just in case. And then it's just stapled on. Very simple, very simple. Simple but fun, right? Okay, so here's where I'm at. I decided, you see, where to put the pockets. Before I do any rubber stamping, I wanted to decide, where am I going to put pockets? What are, what kind of pages do I have left for rubber stamping? Do I want to clip anything in? Okay, I've got a couple of those things going. I've got the pockets. All right. So that leaves some pages that I can decorate with rubber stamps. And this is kind of my last stage before sewing the signatures in. I still haven't decided what's going to go in these pockets, but it's going to be fun, whatever it is. I'll have some dangles and things like that. I wanted to briefly say where these rubber stamps came from. These fossil rubber stamps are just really nice seashell stamps. I got these from Butter Side Down, and they're on the Etsy. Butter Side Down, just like it sounds. And these little squares, I still have a whole lot of this available in the shop, in my Etsy shop. And this is from circus stamps. These are basically very historic images. They're gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. They're all of these shells and seaweed and little stones and everything. Beautiful artwork that used to be available from circus stamps. And I have the last rubber that I'm selling for circus stamps in my Etsy shop. I highly recommend you get these. I mean, there's some stamps here that are completely individual that are just perfect for, if you want a one motif. And then there's these groups. They're just beautifully deep etched stamps. They give a beautiful impression, which you'll see once I do it. I've got some distress inks out. I was thinking of doing just a touch more with the napkin material because I can cut out a shape, put down a little glue stick and stick it down. So, see, that would be cute. So I'm going to do a little more play here and then I'll be ready to sew in the signature. I think I'm finished. I'm not entirely sure. We're going to go through it and I want to see if I missed anything. But boy, it became very fat. And I made this really cute. I had these little seashells in the stash that had holes in them. They probably were from an old necklace. Again, some kind of thrift store find. And I used one of these little Tim Holtz clippy things. I was thinking about doing something with the seashells on the signature binding, but then it just seemed like it was going to be lumpy and I didn't want to punch the extra holes. And then I remembered I had these little clips. So I went with that. And the other thing is, okay, you can see that I didn't quite get it centered. That was very tricky. But then I realized I didn't want to take the binding thread over what I'd already sewn on, right? So I stuck the needle through before going back in. So it worked and it works and it's chunky and it's okay that it's a little off center. Okay, it's organic, right? So here we go. I had some more of those little sticky things, so I put those on there. And what I did up here is, did a reprise of that awning look and just created, and this is a piece of napkin. I used glue stick and I put the glue stick down, cut out these little motifs, which you'll see floating around in here. And it just, the glue stick is fine, it dries. So, just a fun thing that you can do with napkins. And so I just made like a little notepad to stick in there. All right. So we've got a few little tabs. I was wanting to use more of that fabric. Real simple, but boy, bloop. Yeah, it's full. Oh, forgot this pocket. I'm going to have to put something in there as if it could take another thing. All right, let's go through it. Let me check the camera here. Right there. Okay. All right. So a couple of those little stickies. And with these little pockets, they're very tight. So I made little hidden journaling spots that slide out and open up. And then I used, this is, I think I used watercolor paint for this batch of blue. So I do a lot of my own paper dyeing. And I had this beautiful watery paper, so I used it for a lot of places. Made these little tags and just stapled on a little bit of the cloth. Again, this is that little bit of that napkin that had the seashells on it. So I didn't try to decorate every page. Here's one of the Butterside Down rubber stamps. As you saw before, sewed that on. Piece of napkin. I alternated. I just wanted to do something that's a napkin. And put these little tabs on and it opens out still. So that's why I just glued it on. This is a couple of those circus stamps beach stamps that I have quite a lot of those in the Etsy shop available. So if that interests you, they're beautiful stamps. This is another one of the butter side down rubber stamps. Napkin. Another little pocket. There we go. Butter side down. Napkin. Second signature. That's where I got cute. That is cute. Uh, so did these little belly bands. Bit of the napkin again. Another one of the circus stamps, beach stamps. It's just a little folder. I didn't want to go overboard with the rubber stamping. Is that possible? And then here's two little tags. So that's another piece of the napkin. And that's one of the butter side down stamps. So I just need to make just some little tag that could be used as like a uh, this book belongs to this the journal. That could be a little tag that has the title on it. So I'll get that made. And so it is a very chunky, wonderful. I'm pleased with it. It's fun. I think it came out nice. So I hope you picked up an idea or a tip. It's available in my Etsy shop. And keep an eye out for those sample books of fabric. You just never know. I mean, they could even be turned into like a crazy quilt. There's so much you could do. So anyway, there is the blue stripe beachy seashell journal. I'm not sure what I'll call it, but there it is. And I hope you enjoyed it. I thank you so much for watching and happy crafting. Bye for now.